Welcome back to Sem's Journey. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Sem. Right, so I've decided with these videos, I'm just going to record a new video every week. I'm going to do one as like an update. I'm going to try and keep them very brief, try and keep them like 5 to 8 minutes if I can. I do yammer on sometimes, so that might be a challenge. I've been sat here for 20 minutes trying to record this video and just realised I'm just waffling. It's just nonsense. It's a bit weird trying to get used to this new process. But this video, I want to explain. So like the last videos were about moving to Mars, which was my old clothing brand. It did, just for reference, the brand did about £680,000 of revenue in its lifetime, which is about 5 years. About 11,500 orders. So it got to not a huge level, but it got to an okay level. I made no money, if that's a question you're wondering. I made no money from it. That's product-based business. Has very high costs, and if you don't manage your costs well, you just make no money. Me. It's a perfect example of that. But this video, I want to talk about what my plan is. What happened after the brand shut down, and what my plan was going forward. So I'll try and keep it short. So, Moving to Mars started its liquidation last year, like the start of last year. It was fully basically liquidated by the middle of the year. And I started, and I was like, right, what am I going to do with my life now? So I had to figure out what I want to do with my life going forwards. There were a couple of like considerations that were very, very important. So there's a few things I want from my life. First one is location freedom. I don't want to have to go into somewhere every day to work. I want to be like, from moving to Mars and working for myself. I thrive when I have full control of my own environment. I can just get on with the work I need to get on with. I can be deadly. I'm most efficient when I'm just on my own, able to get my head down. And it's the environment that I like the most. So for me personally, being in control of my environment that I get to work in, that is most beneficial for me, and that's what I want out of my working. So I want location freedom, and I also want time freedom. I want to be able to do something that it's not just amount of money for hour worked. Like with something like a clothing brand, you could not work in a day. Say you only work 4 hours this day doing some design, and you could still do £1,000 in revenue. That disconnect between time and money, that's what I want as well. And then I wanted something that I thoroughly enjoyed, that I would thoroughly enjoy. I like challenge. I like being challenged, and I like being able to figure things out, and I like being able to improve things slowly over time. Now the skill that I came to. Oh, and another consideration was I didn't want to do a product-based business anymore. The main reason is product-based business, you have to do a lot of revenue to make any money for yourself, to be able to take home any money. Because say you do £1 million in revenue for your business, yeah, there's tax, there's product cost, there's this cost, there's a lot of costs, and it gets cut down a lot before you're able to take any yourself. And doing a lot of revenue to pay yourself a lot is very, very hard. Service-based business don't have that problem, because you just learn a skill, provide the service, charge the bill for that service, and then you keep the money for that. So with all of those considerations, and something I'd previously had an interest in, which was software development, fell into my lap. That seemed like the most appropriate skill. So I started a course in software development 8 or 9 months ago. No, actually, 10 months ago. Time has flown by, absolutely flown by. And yeah, I started that course 8 months ago, and my goodness, I have fallen in love with it. I feel, I don't necessarily want to say passionate, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy the whole process of it. The main thing that appeals to me within software development is that it's so, like, if something works and if it doesn't, which with something like a clothing brand, which is very creative and there's a lot of different areas and things that can impact whether a clothing brand is successful or not, the feedback loops aren't as tight. So, and the feedback loops are very, very long. And how do you measure if a design is better, if Y design is better than X design, or if, like, it's so difficult to do that. Whereas with something like coding, immediately, because the thing works or the thing doesn't work, or if it's trash because there's like best practices that you can follow. So there's a lot of things that allow you to know if what you're doing works or is right or not. And the other thing is, once you get to a certain level of expertise with it, you can massively improve your systems. You can put a system in place. And I'm a huge believer in building systems will just completely transform your life. Learning to put a system in place, find the bottlenecks within the system, and then improve it, and then just continue that process to anything in your life will improve your life tenfold. That's a different video. But with something like coding, to break that time for money, like, you could become amazing and deadly efficient and charge X amount, and it only takes you so many days because you've gotten so good. So, and it also, you don't need to be tied down to a location. It's generally something that you can do remote. It's something that you can do on your own. If you're able to just get on with very little instruction, that's a very valuable skill. All of these things make the field very, very appealing to me. Also, the continual learning and continual challenge. That is something that I really, really enjoy as well. With moving to Mars and running a clothing brand, especially on your own, there's so many areas that you have to learn, so many different things that you have to be continually learning and trying to get better and get to a certain level to showcase the product and showcase the brand to a certain level. I'm very, very used to that process because of moving to Mars. So it's something that suits me very, very well. Yeah, software development is something that just suits me really, really well. Now, I don't really have like my plan afterwards fully sorted out because there's just so many routes. There's like, so with a service like software development, like when I say as a service, me being the service doing software development for people, there are so many ways to monetize that skill. So many ways. Something like a clothing brand, really restrictive, yeah? You have your clothes, and there's very few ways to sell clothes. Facebook ads, get them on celebrities, like there's very limited ways. Growing Instagram following. But with something like software development, there are a lot of ways to market that. There's a lot of ways there's a lot of ways to sell that specific skill. And I feel like it would just, with all the skills that I've learned from my 5 years at moving to Mars, will just lend itself very, very well once I'm at a good enough level to be able to start selling the service of software development. So my plan will be to learn this skill, get very, very good at it, and then just kind of see how I can monetize it. And then, so phase one is learning the skill. Yeah. So my course finishes in about 2 months or so, 2.5 months. Then after that, I'm going to go back to my old projects, try and build more on top of them with everything that I know now. Then it'll be phase two, which is trying to monetize it. Whether that is from getting a job or doing freelancing or trying to do contracting, I don't know. I'm just going to keep my options open right now. Obviously, the end point is to be working remotely, but if the gateway to that is is to get a job, do well in that job, and then work remotely, so be it. I'm not opposed to anything. I'm not keeping my doors closed as of yet, but yeah, that's the plan, to just, try and monetize the skill somehow. I know the software development market is apparently terrible right now in terms of jobs, but I'm going to do it all. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to set up some freelancing profiles. I'm going to go to agencies. I'm going to apply for loads of jobs. I'm going to do it all once I've learned the skill and once I feel like I'm at a good level. And then once I've done that, like step one is get an adult wage. Believe it or not, I've never actually earned more than like £100 in a month. It's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful. But that, like, I've never earned an adult wage, so I call it an adult wage, yeah. But I've never earned like a good wage. So the first step is to try and earn the adult wage. The second step is to continue living under my belt and invest and try and, like, once I earn money, retain it and help it grow as much as I can. And then also alongside that, like, build the business, try and build a business and just get multiple income streams. Yeah, so that's the plan for what now? Like for what I'm doing after my brand has closed down. I am gonna like obviously it is sad that the business closed, but like I think I outgrew it in terms of me now. I don't particularly care about graphic t-shirts and all of that anymore. Software development feels way more suited to me. Life throws things at you sometimes, but you know what may seem like awful in the moment, you may look back on and look at it as the biggest blessing in disguise. That is often how these things work, you know. When you go through something that's very stressful and very difficult and has a lot of dramatic change, that it can be the catalyst for even better change later on in your life, for positive change later in your life, you know. It's like you have to go through a little bit of pain early to get to the growth on the other side. That is the most important thing from it, is growing from it all and calibrating and trying to take your next step forwards, you know. It's like I don't even have my plan in concrete yet, but learn a skill, monetize said skill is my plan right now. Not super complicated, but we'll try our best in it. Anyway, this 8-minute video actually took me 40 minutes to try and get out because I just stumbling over my words, was chatting rubbish. You can tell I'm not very good at this. Anyway, thanks for coming to Sem's journey. Hope you enjoyed it. To the 40 people that are going to watch this video. Anyway, thank you. Bye.